everybody. We are currently on Gabo Subathon Day 14, and we are now live with Fatebreakers Retold, Episode 37.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in everyone on Jiraki's stream to the subathon. I didn't even know you're running a subathon. I'm
I've been
probably
running it
fucking
for
slow
14
then.
days.
Well, I'm slow to the news, so my bad. Anyway,
It's okay, no one in my Discord really apparently paid attention either.
okay, don't do that. You're gonna stunt your own growth.
I am. It's self deprecating humor, okay? I'm doing it to be funny.
Only no, only I'm allowed to do that. Now continue. I've stolen the copyright.
Bitch, I ain't
Anyway,
copyright on comedy.
welcome in everybody. Welcome in the Fate Breakers Retold, episode 36, 37, 38, whichever the fucking one. But either way, it's
37.
it's this episode.
It's 38.
It's 37.
Thank you. I don't know if where the fuck any of the recaps or shit went away, but anyway, we're just gonna continue on. I am the Dungeon Master Capricorn Demon, the main Dungeon Master, but right now we have a special treat as we are being hosted for this section of these from of last week and now this week by our one and only Stagif, as you can see by the name, the Merciless Bitch.
I know we're here on a friendship lesson, little
Mm-hmm.
teamwork building exercise, and also it's been a little while, and people are still holding on to their secrets, their precious, delicious secrets.
And if I sound different, it's because I'm currently going through a dry cough. I barely got it today, so that's why my voice sounds a little bit deeper.
It's okay.
And you might hear me catch the cough every now and then. But anyway, besides the point, let's go ahead and get into it with the recap. So
Mm-hmm.
last time we left off on Fate Breakers Retold, Jiraki, fucking Brevigi and Max were summoned forth to a dinner to try and make peace with Gale and to give a little bit more of an understanding as to the two additional lovers that make up the Inventors trio of Angela and Skylar. Now, of course, for some of them, it's not easy to dress fancy, as Brevigi had to ask both Lucy and Arya in order to help out with his evening get up. But they're able to comb him nicely, dress him down to at least the most of casual of outfits before heading out with Max as he wears his traditional uniform from way back when, and they both head off to this restaurant in order to meet the trio. The restaurant in question was one of endless meat that they were able to be served whenever a special coaster that is bicolor, one color being red on one side, one color being green on the other. Um, Whenever flipped to the appropriate color, will continue to be served or stop with complimentary appetizers. So the trio enter, they make their presence known to the restaurant as well as the duo waiting for them. And they engage in conversation as to how they know of the Blood Spades, finding out that they have their own friend group, which includes them, the Spades, at least of the members of Veronica, Cervantes, Piper, Sammy, and Tiana, and two other duos out there somewhere in the world. The duo of Liam and Alex, which the Blood Spades have asked the party to eventually look into to see if they're okay or not after disappearing into the geyser fields, and a couple um, not yet known, but except for the husband, which refers to, they call him Carter, who is a well renowned chef in Flargos and hunter. And so, as the evening progresses and they try to communicate with the history between each other, especially since Angela knows about Maxilon and his history in war and just how much of a figure he was when it came to leading the charge on both the Flargonian and Frostniran fronts. Maxilon immediately asked what it is that they could do in order to not only appease the trio, but also to get them to see the wrongs of the current trajectory of Flargos. That for the longest time in Flargos' history, the might, uh, the might makes right mentality is an outdated mindset and must be flipped to right makes might. Angela, being the leader of this trio, very hard to bargain with, very hard to try and persuade, even though the other two kind of are already swaying over towards Max's words. Explained how she had nothing, even so much as going as to losing her family name and previous identity. That she doesn't carry no last name. So with that, she proposes that Max gives up something in order for that agreement to go forth. That being a potential experiment on him to lose more of his flesh and humanity and replace it with mechanic parts, which was quickly shut down and refused.
All a Warhammer moment.
Hmm.
The weakness of your flesh.
As awkward and tense as the conversation slowly grew, they decided to part ways after an incoming call that had Angela step away from the table and eventually uh, had the had her lovers join her to head back to the factory. Brevigi, during this moment, sneakily following Angela, Tony find that it is Cervantes on the other side, asking her what is she doing, and pleading that she gets straight back to work on the massive cannon that they had planned to build and conquer the world with. Which then leads us to the rest of the session from last time. Stagif, will you be able to cover the bit that you started with for us last time?
So, looking for information from an oracle or something of the sort, most of the party finds themselves borrowing a sand sailor from one rebellion leader Theophania.
Mm-hmm.
Moving along, it's actually quite an easy run. Nothing complicated. Any worms diverted, distracted, and ran away. As the party takes a couple of days getting to where supposedly this cave with this oracle is supposed to be. To perhaps no one's surprise, given their nature, they seem to be waiting outside of this cave entrance for them, greeting the party and inviting them in, letting them know that they're not exactly an oracle, but for all intents and purposes, the title suffices. Letting the party know they're going to be allowed questions so long as they play this game, so long as they answer a few questions in return and follow them down. Moving down along into this cavern, this long tunnel, quickly growing dark, the light of the entrance fading likely faster than anyone kind of would feel would be appropriate. And however much time passes while they walked and talked became murky. Tensions rose slightly as this oracle, Samara, had asked them simple questions, though ones tinged with some kind of edge to them. What do you plan to do if you fail at your goals, or any of your friends. Things that you fear, generally. The party going along with it and mostly answering their questions as they came along to them, making it to something of an underground lake, almost glowing and aqua green. Samara would turn around and face the party and let them know that friends are likely all you're going to have here, and that they'll see them at the end of this cave. Unbeknownst to the party, one beaker is taken into the shadows by silhouettes in the walls. A blink, and the Samara melts into water before their eyes, and another blink, and everyone is somewhere else entirely. And that's where we'd be picking up right now. To which none of you are in the same place at this current moment. Let's see. For now, who'd be first? If anyone wants to, if anyone in particular wants to go first.
I volunteer because I'm not sure if by the time this progresses my throat's gonna be worse. So I'll go while it's still fresh.
Your throat and whatever whatever fucked up thing goes on with your internet, whenever the fuck anything you have to do anything rather important.
I don't know what happened last time. Okay, everything was going so well up until the last couple of hours, like the last 2 hours.
I know it happens a few times. Sometimes in the sessions, you're trying to explain something, and it starts being fine until you go to explain that thing again.
I swear, my internet hates me when I'm trying to like be serious and give everybody information.
I know you just gotta type it out. Honestly, at some points, you just gotta type it out. But as it goes, for now, then we'll go ahead and start with Arya.
Yes, where am I?
Blinking, no longer are you in a cavern, this dark tunnel, or in front of this underground lake. Somewhere else entirely. Arya finds herself mid-performance, dancing in an outfit that she doesn't quite recognize. Nothing that she's worn before. And a little dark in front of her. Spotlight shining upon her, blinding her a little bit to whatever audience seems to be just out of view. You have a performance to finish, Arya.
And she will go ahead and do so as the performer that she is, as what she has learned throughout majority of her life. She will go ahead and do so. As do you need a performance role for me?
Yeah, let's go and do performance roll real quick. If you would.
That's 20.
I know, evil shit. Some of the best performances she's ever given at the moment. She could feel it. Finding herself in
That's
the
a
zone. Any wrong step any wrong step that she might take, her body course corrects. Her legs move naturally to the movement of the music, and her hips sway perfectly in tune to captivate this audience. She could feel them watching her, even if she cannot see them. But soon this performance comes to an end, the music draws to a close, and the spotlight abruptly stops, plunging you into darkness, and a tug on your arm to leave the stage. Your time is done for now. Sudden questions might be looming in your mind. Where exactly are you at the moment? Where? What were you doing, and where is everyone? just a small gnomish figure that's escorting Arya off the stage, pulling her to the back, and her eyes adjust rather quickly given her infernal heritage to the dim lighting of a plush room in the back. Place where she can rest between performances. And this gnome, just something of a younger gnome, although that could mean between 1 to 300 years, perhaps. Relatively plain looking, but in a professional little outfit, as someone else seemingly takes the stage as a faint drop of music can be heard from wherever the stage was. Gnome counts out an amount of coin. Nothing to scoff at, but nothing incredible. Sets it in a pouch and sets it on the little table in front of Arya.
Hmm.
All right, and maybe the same time next week.
Arya just blankly answers, I suppose so, yeah.
Well, never really like you have much of a choice, but we'll see you then. No, you go and feel free to take a drink, but that's about it. And the man kind of raises a hand and mildly, curtly dismisses her. There's seemingly an exit somewhere here in the back. As he goes and walks to the side of the stage and watches the new performer, from just behind the stage, making sure their form is also up to snuff.
Hmm. What am I doing? Why do I feel so stuck right now? She says as she goes ahead and takes that drink.
Just something back here, something in a bottle. It's decent, but nothing incredible. Just whatever free is being offered here for the performers. And something perhaps to her taste at least. Not much can be given. Something feels so distant when you try to think of the people you were just with, or the people you were with. You think about a group of people that you were traveling with for a time. You feel so far away.
Where is
Would you like to
everybody?
leave? Of course, the silence doesn't answer you, Arya. Question given to yourself, and a question that you don't know the answer to personally.
The curiosity will get the better of her and she will leave the room.
Bit of a glare from this gnome as she leaves the room, but she's allowed to do so, opening the door and leaving into the outside. Seems like it's a night sky. Rather nice weather, even. Or nice weather for Arya. It's likely chilly enough for a light jacket for just about anyone else. But maybe to cover herself for some measure of modesty, not being this rather revealing outfit that she's wearing or was wearing at the time. She could put on something else before she leaves, but she'd find herself in an unfamiliar city. One It might be in Lytera, it might be in Naturia. It's a little vague at the moment. And unless Arya has any knowledge of the stars and map reading, she wouldn't be able to tell a general distance from the location of the stars. There's something in Arya's head that lets her know there is a place for her to stay. Just a small apartment here in this town. City? No, another thought, and town seems correct.
She's gonna go ahead and follow the stars.
A glance up, and walking down this rather lonesome street. A few nighttime passerbys move past her. She might feel some of their eyes lingering a little longer than they normally would, or normally should, as she keeps kind of moving, walking, and looking to the right. She sees a building which something tells her she knows that that is her apartment, a home, perhaps, or at least a place to stay in that she's had for some time. Slowly but surely, a set of memories is starting to settle in. You've been working here as a performer for quite some time. The age doesn't show on your face, given the infernal touch to your blood lengthens your lifespan past that of at least some of the shorter lived races. Exactly how much time, she can't really tell, but, well, where else is she to go at the moment? Friends? Did Arya have friends?
Thank you for following
Have any
Aaron
of
off
them
axis.
spoken to her in the past few years? Again, the slow trickle of memories seems to be coming in as she continues walking, and the breeze of the night sky brushes across her face. The world was saved by a group of people that all had saved you, Arya. But after it was all said and done, people went back to their own lives. And somehow or another, as all that was settling into place, it soon became apparent that Arya, there was no room for her in anyone's settled life. And a good bit of money that came from whatever deeds they'd done, vague as they may seem, but the knowledge of that remains trickling in. Had she helped, or was she only a passenger in that what some would call an adventure, what would call a harrowing journey? Some money remained, enough for her to live on her own, but only enough. And she'd had to resort to what she knows to continue living. Letters would go unanswered. And no one of note would stick around in your life, Arya. It's been some years, Arya, and despite everything and the time you spent, for some reason, you found yourself being alone once again in this city full of people. This country, really. In Nytera. Seems like you've settled down in for now.
Why are things the way they are like this? Why is no one concerned about me? I feel
Well,
like
why
this
would they?
is. I feel like this has happened too often already. But
In
why
this
does it
lifetime?
feel that way?
You've been a slave before. Your family seemed to be nowhere to be found. Whatever family you thought might have been left. Why would they be concerned for you, Arya? You're fine. You're here, you have enough to eat, and you have a bed to sleep in. How many times has this happened, Arya? Does it always happen?
I'm tired of this. Why does it always feel like I'm the one that gets the short end of the stick at the end? Why is it that I'm either gone or I'm just left on my own?
Is it the end? You're still young, Arya. There's so much time ahead of you. But is it all going to be like this? If you do go and find people that you once knew, would they keep your company only to be polite?
I don't want
Surely.
things I don't want things to end like this.
Then what are you going to do about it?
Find a way for me to at least make things last longer. Or at least so that way I'm the one that's in a better position.
You're in a fine position, Arya. But not a great one. What are you going to do about this miserable situation you find yourself in? The dregs and chains of mediocrity, loneliness. Maybe if things had gone different before. Surely, with so many memories of ending up like this, ending up in a sad, almost comically mediocre life. So many thoughts of why does this keep ending up this way? Why why hasn't it changed? What are you doing? Or what are you not doing that can change this? Do you know where anyone else is at the moment? If a letter doesn't work, maybe ascending. Maybe a visit. Do you know where they live? A quick peruse through your mental shelf, and you find general locations of where people might be at the moment after everything is settled. It's only been a few years. Wouldn't it be weird to seek out something that isn't the short end of the stick, as you'd put it?
Arya, before she goes out, tries to look for the sending stone from back then. See if anyone would answer it before she goes, just to confirm.
Moving back along, kind of backtracking a little bit to get to that apartment that you passed by, one that you know is yours, one whose keys you'd find buried in your bag. Quick turn of the key and entering this simple, plain apartment. Nothing terrible about it. No bed bugs, no roaches. Warm or cool enough during the summer and winter. And it may not have a kitchen of any kind, but you always have enough to buy something down at one of the taverns. and you'd go looking for the sending stone. The sending stone that, in theory, would connect you to between one to all of these people that you'd interacted with, that you'd spoken to, that had you befriended? Was that what happened? Were you just not friendly enough to them? Did you not try hard enough to connect to them? You did what you knew how to connect to people, and to some that may seem very close. But apparently it wasn't enough. Looking through the drawers, looking through the cabinets, where is the sending stone? You're a mage of the bardic persuasion. Sending is a spell that you could come to know, or perhaps you do know it at the moment. All you
She would
need is a
try.
little bit of copper, and you can try to send to one of your old acquaintances.
She would try to find some copper pieces and perform the spell.
Finding just a single copper coin, that much would be enough. Pretty much for any kind of messaging spell. Something that the more savvy in the arcane would know. Something about its properties and conductivity. Either way, she'd go to cast the spell. She has 25 words to send to one person with a singular spell. Who is she sending to, and what's she saying?
Maxilon, if you hear this message, of course, it's Arya. I just want to know if you're alright. I miss you. I miss everyone.
Was that 24 or 25 words?
That was
That
Would
was
one
23.
more?
23.
I counted.
I'll say.
That was 23. I got two more.
Would one or two more words matter at the moment? Sure, why not?
Answer me.
A demand. Arya, can you give me an intelligence check?
I rolled a soft 20.
Damn.
No, bastard's 20. Something about this doesn't exactly feel right. Although it seems familiar, it does not seem correct. But the thought is interrupted by an answer. Arya. It's been some time since your last letter. How have you been? I would love to come visit, but I find myself quite busy these days trying to. Well, dancing the dance that they do in courts. Nobility nonsense. You know how it is. And the message seems to end there. Nothing of any real substance, and honestly about the same content regurgitated into voice as you'd received in some of the letters. But again, that itch in your brain just doesn't feel correct. Someone bewitched the
going to.
people you knew? Something about this just doesn't seem natural.
I guess it wouldn't hurt to just check up on them at least. I mean, maybe they would appreciate a surprise.
Maybe they would. You know that there are carriages that do ride from town to town. You can even rent a horse. Or another beast of some kind. Although, riding on your own doesn't seem as, not just safe, but maybe not the way to go. There might be a carriage for you. Something that the money she has set aside for rent for this month, she can definitely dip into that. She wants to go visit. Place so lonely, and upon looking it over, at least fundamentally sad. Would it be so bad to lose? So you have the means to go visit your friends, acquaintances, these people you knew.
She goes ahead and starts her journey to try and see what they're all up to.
And as she carries along, pretty much this whole night, and the prior night, it all seems rushed. She seems to find herself in places faster than she should. Finding the money she had saved up from, including from tonight and from last week and the week before. Enough to pay for rent here, enough to pay for the food that you put on your table. And all that, well, now it's certainly enough to pay for a carriage ride and perhaps food along the way. Packing up what she needs. Before she knew it, a blink and she's already on a carriage. This town is far behind her. Not incredibly far, but at least most of the night's journey. At the moment. Feels something of a metaphorical shackle weakening. And another thought crosses her mind. Intrusively, almost. If they knew more about you, would this have happened? Or would it have been worse? They remember you, but they don't think about you, which almost in essence feels a little worse. To be more or less remembered, but not in mind, not in the forefront, not even in the background of someone's thoughts. Someone who should know you. You should have done something to place yourself more prominently in these thoughts. And for right now, we'll move on to someone else for a second, as Arya seems to be traveling.
Damn, man.
Damn. This shit get heavy.
You're telling me what the fuck, Stag?
Give me a second to use the restroom and then I'll go.
Okay. And, well, while Flunky's using the restroom, just a snippet for a second. Snippet for ink. It'll last about a minute. Ink. You find yourself somewhere else entirely, as pretty much everyone else has. You were dressed well, one could say, perhaps a bit extravagantly. You seem taken care of and well. You are in a nice room, some kind of meeting room. And you see through your eyes to your side a couple of these friends, acquaintances. These words will come up a lot for most of you. You see a few people. And someone enters the room. Entering upon permission. Seems like it's Benny. Dressed in, well, some kind of sleek armor. Military of some kind, but not exactly. She nods a little.
Do I remember anything before this point?
You were somewhere else right now? You were somewhere else before this. Although it's hard to remember. What do you say to this goat woman that's seemingly come to at least entertain an audience or something? You don't know why she's here and what the situation is. What do you say to her?
Benny? Where? I thought. Where? They just say half-formed sentences confused for a moment.
This confusion in your mind, these words that you think. But Benny seems to nod. Something doesn't feel right. No, of course I came. I just wanted to see how things were. And you wanted to know about how things were over in, well, Western H area after everything? Yeah, I did. And a pause. No, things are fine. She's responding to you, but not what you think you said.
They just feel so confused as they just try and reorganize their thoughts about the current situation.
Trying to reorganize their thoughts. Ink, as you go to move, as you go to look around, you don't. Ink, you find yourself a passenger. A body that is clearly yours. Hands that are yours in front of you. And you hear a muffled voice, almost. You can't quite make it out. But after these muffled voices, people in the room respond. You find yourself a passenger in your own body. Ink, you've given in to the madness, but have you ever thought about how that would be like? And for now, we cut back. We cut over to Flunky.
Hello.
Flunky, you have two characters in the stick.
I do.
I love that stupid fucking emote. But you do. Choice is yours. Would you like Maxlon to open their eyes, or would you like Theo to open their eyes at the moment?
Let's go with Max first.
Go with Max. Maxilon Zerestri. I'll be honest, I've tried a few times to remember off the top of my head what the full name was. I remember Piccolo.
Piccolo Barcelona.
Barcelona. That's the fucking one that escapes me. Maxilon, Piccolo, Barcelona, Zerestri. Yeah, I didn't get corrected, so I'm assuming that's correct.
Good enough.
Good enough. You feel well, I suppose you don't feel exactly. Not a sense, but in a sense that you're used to. The heavy thunking of a finger on a table. Although similar to Ink's situation, you were at a desk. And the finger tapping at the table is one that is not made of flesh and blood. It is one made of metal and stone. And a few other materials to line the inner parts to make it work. All the mechanical gooey bits that artifice does to make, well, the miracle of the mechanism of the body work without having all the pieces. It's one that you've never seen before. It is sleek. It is just your size. It is black and it has things adorning along the upper arm to its side. Something like a uniform. You are dressed nicely as you normally are. And there are shelves of books next to you. You are alone in this room at the moment. You have paperwork to be doing. Things turned out alright. They didn't turn out perfectly. They didn't turn out perfectly. As hard as
But
you
they-
all tried, it turned out. And that's what mattered at the end. Wasn't it?
There are days when it's worse than others, but we tried. Would we have done more? Maybe. But it's in the past now, and there's no going back.
You find a long sigh escaping you at the thought, and a look down to your other arm. Red. Red and blonde hairs along the arm, now dotted with white, a little. It's about the end of the day, give or take, seeing the lighting outside, at least the end of your day that you seem to be working for. Taking over things has been a hassle. And there are candles and little lanterns lighting this room, well, rather swelly. It's time to turn in, Max. Wait for the next day. Or go to sleep for the next day. The day that comes next. It's been a bit of a cycle.
Just one day after the other. Bureaucracy never changes.
Not as much as you've tried to change it. And frighteningly so. Trying to change it too much. Even just behind a pen and pencil, behind the desk. You've had to immediately stop. These changes he proposed, surprisingly to you, why aren't people better? Because these changes, which seem completely reasonable, others in the world are willing to go to war over. Life has going back to normal as it should have been after the averted catastrophe, the calamity that could have ended everything. And people, once again, immediately go back to being the selfish dogs that they are. Changes to get more help into the people's hands. And as much as people would agree with you, these changes that you propose, you've avoided. Again, has been a loss of integrity or swallowing of pride, not to return to the times, not to put others through what you've been through war. I'd say you'd sacrifice so much, but really a lot of people have in what happened. Your father's long since passed. Your mother's not doing well, but is still around. Walking down the hall, your heavy footsteps, one a little heavier than the other, with a bit of a thunk along the wood of the floors. The halls in this home are a little longer than you thought they'd be when you thought about this. You didn't need a house so big, but it just happened.
It's expected of the station.
And you find yourself with things that are yours that you have no other place for. You need rooms for them. And you need staff, but not as much staff as some of the other places. This place is large, but not as gaudy and unnecessary as any of the other ones have. But yet it's still a little bit too big, but not small enough for you to feel trapped in. Thunking of wood as your footsteps keep going. These halls. The contractors question your choice in lighting. Why is there lamps? Why is there lamps every 7 feet? You don't need that much. You don't need that much lighting in your home. But after what happened, you couldn't be convinced otherwise. You need to rest for the coming day. As you approach your room, a sense of dread starts to fill you. Creep in almost, as much as you'd like to keep it at bay. From what awaits you on the other side of this bedroom. This other side of this bedroom door. As a hand of yours reaches forward, one that can crush this door handle. One that's swift and accurate when it needed to be. Or enough to make it count, to have things work out in the end. But not enough for everyone to still be here. Something awaits you on the other side of this room. On the other side of this door. Maxilon.
We have to go in.
You open the door, and you see it. Your old nemesis. An empty room. No one here to watch your back or to speak to at the end of the day. And the hardest thing fighting along this. Maxilon, you were one of the only people to survive the events. Despite everything you've tried. And some people, almost infuriatingly so. Stubbornly so. Put themselves in harm's way to make sure that things could carry on. And among things being you. Well, Benarith is no longer with you. With anyone, really. Not right now. Not after what happened.
But she should be.
Should have been. But that wasn't your
GDP.
choice to make. It seemed like it was hers. Her choice to make. Were you going to take that choice from her? And, well, if you would have, you couldn't. You didn't end up with the strength to, the speed to.
It doesn't mean I don't resent her for it. For leaving me alone. I know why
But,
she did it.
yeah, you're still here. That's why she did it. You and so many others are still here. A lot of these people, that's why most of them did it, for one reason or another. Whether or not they didn't care about the void that called for them at the end of that tunnel. And for a second, the word tunnel in your mind, as you think it, feels cold. Kind of a strange feeling. Something at the tip of your thoughts that you can't quite reach. Some memory that before you can spend too long to think about it, once again pushes away. Very much like a noble, very much like a soldier. Well, an officer, a captain, and at some point a general of you, Maxilon. Try to make people's decisions for them. Or you wanted to. It was only right. Or it should have been right. Maxilon, you... These clothes are not fit for sleeping. They're fit for entertaining a public appearance. Coldness. You feel a coldness in your thoughts and your emotions. That resent seems to amplify a little bit. Not just for Benny, but for everyone that you were with. And you think about, or I suppose less so that you think about, these thoughts find you. Why are they like this? Were they like this? Why couldn't they just listen? Thoughts that seem to be yours, but also seem to be foreign. Unwelcomed, even. This room is wide. This room has plenty of space to either side of the bed. This room has no window. This room is large enough that you do not feel trapped inside of it while you sleep, but small enough that you know every inch of it, even as you lay down and close your eyes. The floorboards just loud enough for no one to be able to come by and take you. For the events of war not to repeat themselves. But why would they repeat themselves? You've done everything to avoid that. You've done everything to avoid people wanting to put you, strap you down to a bed, if you can call it that. A board. Try to remove your power from you. Try to break you. Though not broken, you do feel the cracks still there. Cracks are why this room is like this and why this house is like this. And the cracks were only further deepened by what ended up happening. Although the more you think about it, the more vague those thoughts become, the more vague those memories are of what exactly happened and why they did. You know that things are fine, but something doesn't add up. Maxilon, as your body goes a little bit into autopilot as far as going back to sleep, you find yourself breaking this little routine for a second as you sit down. Is there anything you want to do?
Uh, in his bedside table, there's an old copy of the Cornish romances.
This fucking beat the shit copy. This dog-eared copy, every single page. At this point, the dog ear has removed some of the corners, and the corners that aren't removed, well, the way you keep track of it is you just flip them back the other way. Back and forth.
But there's a line about halfway through the book that that Benny had underlined. This was like an annotation copy. This was never meant to be kept nice. It was something he always had on him. And when he lent it out to Benny, she underlined this line for some reason. And more often he finds himself coming back to look at it.
What line was it, Maxilon?
I was hoping you would know. Figure something out.
Shit.
This bitch wanted the easy way out.
I'm trying to lean into storytelling. My bad.
That's fine.
I'm just forgiving you shit.
I suppose then. Flunky. This book. What exactly was the synopsis? A few sentences to give me the vibes of the book. I know that they're all as well as trashy romances, as you can tell, but what was this one about? Another
Absolutely.
war
I-
torn?
I actually have the line.
Oh,
Max
Max finger traces the line. What was it?
expectations were like fine pottery. The harder you held them, the more likely they were to crack.
Corny ass line. Benny hated marking the books. Benny hates what fucking Max did to the books. She knows that they're meant to be beats. She hates the dog. She hated the dog earring. But here she was marking down with pen no less on this book. Maybe because it was too far gone and not worth caring about as far as keeping it as it was. Or maybe it was just important. Something that she wanted Max to think about. Even before it all happened. That left hand of yours, it can hold things so tightly. But as for expectations, the right one can hold them just as tightly. Crush them even. Thinking about this line, Max, is there anything you want to do?
I don't think so. I think he just gently places the book back in the drawer and tries to go to sleep.
Head back along his pillow. The darkness taking his vision as he closes his eyes. Something he can't help. Well, I suppose he could. Just stick around with dry eyes. But once again, sleep would find him for the next day. And from that point right this second, I'm going to pick someone else. Or not pick, but if someone else would like to go next.
I'm alright with going next if no one else does.
I was gonna throw 0 in there, just unexpectedly.
I know, Jiraki. Or
Hello?
I suppose Baviki.
Hello?
I know, a little funny. Same thing. You blink your eyes, and when you open them, it is somewhere else entirely. A line I'll be giving quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You find yourself not in a tunnel, not next to an underground lake. You find yourself somewhere at night. You find yourself in a town. A couple of people that you knew from well, it wasn't that long ago, but it was a cause that you'd abandoned.
Alright.
The stars don't seem as bright as they once had. Little magically powered devices that a lot of the cities here and well, this largest city actually that powered things as it once had are no longer there. Things have now switched back to well, just the analog. Where once some people would have little mage light lamp torches with unending flames or little unending light in them is now just regular kerosene lamp oil lamps. Said that stupidly. Either way, where once people would have magic in their little items, or honestly, at your point, at some point, your items, your weapons, held an enchantment to them. They no longer do. Brivik, you find yourself alive in a land where magic has died, where darkness has overtaken things. The end of all things is much calmer than what people made it out to be. And somewhere you know that it's all going to end, but it's not in your lifetime. Or probably isn't in your lifetime. Maybe you live a little longer. Maybe the next generation might feel its actual scorn. But for now, you sit here and you live in a world that is ended, and its final wicks, its little embers that it held, hold on to what life they could, or life they can. One whose flame is no longer burning, and these embers will cool down and die. It's the end of the world. Jiraki, Mage of Darkness, has prevailed. Most continents, well, all continents, if you don't consider the heart of the world a continent, has lost their mage, has lost their source of power. And it was an endeavor that you at some point in time were aiding with stopping. Some point along the way, either you made decisions, at this point you can't really tell if it was you or if it's this damnable black blood that runs through your veins that wants to keep you, this body, alive. You've heard from Ink many times about the madness, this monster you would turn into, this monster that they would turn into. So far, it seems like, well, Ink seemed fine after all things. They talked about becoming monster all the time, but at some point they mellowed out. They even seem happy. Well, they seem happy when you last checked up on them, when you last went to go speak to them, go do a job with them. These decisions, whether or not they were yours, and maybe it's one of two ways, and either way, well, I'd say you find deeply upsetting, but that's up to you to decide. You abandoned the cause to save this world. You and along with a few others that had passed away at inopportune times, or simply abandoned this cause. And so, you weren't victorious. There was failure. The greatest of all. And between these two options, you didn't help save the world in the end when it counted is because of one of two reasons. Because this black blood influences more than you'd like to think. Or maybe that man whose throat you slit was correct in his final gurgling words. Bastard that he is, you'd hoped that he'd die afraid, that he would die ashamed of his actions, but he died scorning you. Your father died, letting you know, reminding you with this horrible tongue that you know is his, croaked with the death rattle, blood leaving his throat. That you're nothing, Braviki. But if you think too long about either of those two choices, then, well, this calm end of the world might not seem so good. You turn around and you find a couple of people that you've been working with for a few months now. A couple of people in the same general line of contract work. Normally, somebody wants to get they want somebody kidnapped. You have your own standards, things that you keep, little rules that you keep, so that you can tell yourself that maybe you aren't a lost cause. That there's no end to hope. That it's fine. It's fine, Bravigi. Currently, you guys just got back from a job where you had to steal some little artifact. Something that people, well, your employer hoped would retain its magic because of how powerful it was. But when you'd found it just as a trinket, as many other things are. And you have a few abilities, ones that aren't exactly considered magical, ones that you might be a little thankful for, or resent, depending on if you think about their source. But while other people who are solely reliant on magic lost everything, you still have your talents, Braviki. And that's one of the only things you have at the moment. Well, aside from the friends that you'd kept that remained alive after everything, aside from the things that you hold. Well, friends that remained alive, and also friends that people that would still call yourself your friend.
Let me see.
You can coast off of this job for a little bit. You can go to a tavern, or go rent an apartment, or even a little building, for a little time until you have to work again. Or you can go work again for the fuck of it. Praviki, what are you doing?
He'd think for a moment on everything that has apparently happened that he wanted to do and reflect on where it's gotten him. What the
Let's
point of it all was.
let's make a checklist, Braviki. What are the things you wanted to do?
He wanted for sure to confront his father. Make
Ooh,
him,
you did that.
yes, make him hopefully fear him or regret the actions that he had done to no avail, it seems.
You can put a half check mark on that. You confronted your father, even if you didn't seem to regret his actions in the end. At least you made sure that he wouldn't get a chance to regret anything else. So let's put that at half a check mark. What about the next one, Braviki?
Why did he choose to just do what he did alone? Well,
Oh, there goes that question again. Why?
mhm.
And again, you keep finding yourself to the two main reasons of why you did it alone. One, because it's meaningless, or two, because something has a control over you. And
And
again, if it wasn't your choice, if it was something has control over you, should you feel so bad about it?
he would wrestle with the thought and think maybe he should have resisted whatever influence it had.
Oh, but all that shit that Ink talked about, how you cannot resist it, how it's inevitable that you'll become a monster. Although maybe some people would call you a monster nowadays, but maybe you'd call yourself a monster nowadays, but you can fight those thoughts and you can fight that title. In fact, again, you think about Ink again, someone else who shared in this plight of black blood, someone else who has turned out just fine. They have found peace in their dark arts. They have found peace in their dark work. They no longer seem like the anxious mess that they once were. They're just fine.
And
Maybe you'd call them a monster if you think about it too much because of what they do, but it's not the babbling confusion of a monster turned twisted in irony. It's just ink. Although, I wonder if ink also feels the same things of that you do. Something of a brotherhood or siblinghood in black blood, of an uncertainty. You can't find yourself being able to look into their mind at all, and you don't find them looking to yours. Whatever forced connection that could have gone through these things, no longer there. So
perhaps I should at least tie up loose ends.
what else is there? What other loose ends are there, Brivigi? The loosest end of all being this world is going to tie itself up in the next 100 to 200 years as darkness slowly consumes it. Or maybe quickly if you think about the lifespan of the world. A couple hundred years is just a blink. So, in a blink of an eye, the world is gone. But for you, it is the rest of your life. So, what loose ends are there, Brivigi?
He thinks for a long, long moment. Maybe before it's all done, I should go and see, at least confront my old comrades, let them ask their questions.
How many of them would even want to see you?
It
Sure,
doesn't
maybe.
matter if they want to see him. He feels like he must go.
Oh, forcing a choice. No, it's fine. It's actually reasonable and it's okay. You can go see your friends, or sorry, your old comrades,
No.
and see what they think. There's not very many of them left after everything. While you left and kept yourself alive, many of them gave their lives in what ended up being in vain, but in an effort to keep light in the world, to keep life, keep magic, keep fire and nature going. But things are slowly decaying in the unnatural and the artificial, really, and in the dark and cold. But not the element device, because that's also dead too. Frostnear has been real nice nowadays. The snow's been melting, as things pretty much everywhere seem to be evening out. It's not, the world isn't freezing to death. It's evening out to death. A weird balance. But you have friends to go, acquaintances to go see and see what they want. You know that Ink's alive, and Ink is one of the people that you might have seen more than others. You know that Arya's alive. You know that Beaker is alive.
Take
Shit,
a long sigh.
that's it.
Feels this sick, twisted obligation to at least try and at least offer closure to those who used to trust him.
And something in your guts, flowing in your veins, is telling you not to. Is telling you to stop. Why would you?
And you focus on that feeling for a moment.
Almost shying away from this prying eye, this focus, it seems to disperse. You can do what you want. You can go see these people. Although, if you can make me an intelligence check.
Alright. Let's see here. Int. Make sure it's correct on both sheets here. There it is. 13. It was almost 20.
How much did you say it was?
13.
Okay, that's what I thought. The signal or quality was a little weird, but 13.
Yes, 13. Definitely almost 20.
I know.
Well,
On
it
on the
landed on
dice.
the 8, but it jittered like on the edge between like the 8 and the 20.
I know on a physical dice, it sounds weird, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I know 2, almost the 20, but 13, 13, 13. No, that's fine. Although this seems wrong, fundamentally, of course it seems wrong. It's the end of the fucking world, and that feeling pervades you maybe at least once a week. But you'd bid farewell, or maybe you just silently leave your coworkers that you've just been on this job with, and you'd go to try to find these people to go find closure. And for right that second again, we will cut to, I think it's Beaker that's left right now, or I suppose Zero that's left right now. I feel like he has another little bit that we actually went through already, but I think I can pick that up a little after a couple of these. Beaker, are you there?
It is Beaker who's next. Yep. But also Cuddles. Did you get ink?
Oh, you're right. I only did a little bit with ink.
I can
And
wait
I'll
for Cuddle.
Okay, if you'd like to wait, because I know you do. I do know that you can pass away into the night a little sooner than some of us.
It's fine. I can wait. I've had plenty of coffee.
Sure about that?
Powerful coffee.
Ron, what are you doing drinking coffee this late at night?
I always do.
It's good. Also, if you always do, it doesn't seem to work. But either way,
Yeah.
I want my little beaker boy to get some time.
it's fine. Ink,
What?
you are in a meeting. You find yourself looking at things. You find yourself looking at papers down at your desk. You find your hands moving. This warbled speech that seems to be coming muffled out of your own mouth that you can barely hear and nary understand. And people are responding to you. And looking at the words on the papers beneath you, they are nonsense. They do not make a lick of sense to you. You cannot read them. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Try and force out every inch of psionic power to break out.
Psionic power. Something that's left. Not quite magic, even if it's magic adjacent. Can't have access to all of it because some of it tugged at the strings of the weave. But you do have a few powers of. Well, maybe not you. This body does. Body's yours, but it isn't yours anymore. Ink. At some point, you gave that up when you gave it to this black blood. A little like you'd mentioned before to other people about the horrific side effects of this black blood, the ironic transformations, or fitting transformations, cruel, twisted transformations that would fit the wielder or bearer of the black blood. But it was mostly on the weak. They turn into jittering messes, into horrible creatures, monsters that can be put down. But one day you found yourself unable to control your own body. You found yourself locked behind your eyes, behind your ears. You found yourself banging at the walls of your own skin. And it has been years, Ink. But for some reason, you find yourself a new lucidity. Sometimes you go dormant. Sometimes you rest for a long time, and when you come to, you are doing something atrocious. Maybe not to people you exactly care about, but maybe to people that they had cared about. And you can do nary a thing to stop it. And the worst part about it, Ink, is that you can't stop it, and you're doing it in such a way that anyone else who promised that they would stop you didn't notice. What better form a monster to take, a changeling, than one who can crawl into a situation unnoticed? Ink,
Isn't how
if
it's
you.
supposed to be.
Not how it's supposed to be. Ink, if you'd like to once again bang on these walls, make me a charisma check. Innate power of yours, this force of personality, to bang on the walls that this monster holds you in. This warden that puppets this body that, well, it deems its, but you know is yours. This body is yours, Ink.
This isn't how it's supposed to be. This isn't how it's supposed to be. This isn't how it's supposed to be.
You were supposed to die. You were supposed to die in some honorable sacrifice that people can kind of look back on with some sadness but pride, or at the very least, some bittersweet notion that one of your acquaintances would have killed you. Be some jittering monster, something to be slain by the people, or you were supposed to overpower it. You were supposed to get over it. Some measure of worth, this sliver of hope that maybe you didn't even know you had, that you can overcome the monstrosity that you'd be. But here you are. This wasn't how it was supposed to be, Ink. Now, I think you rolled that shit on roll 20, which I will go and hop on in a second. But if you can tell me what you rolled.
That's a charisma.
21. 21 charisma check.
21 charisma check. Ink, as the speech, you can't understand what it's saying, but you notice it trips up on its own tongue. Something it hardly ever does. Ink had somewhere along the way to other people found itself more smooth, silver tongued than most people gave Ink credit for. Ink started speaking with a persuasive power that sometimes you had found yourself in, but now seems to be on all the time. But for the first time in a long little time, there was a stutter, and you managed to move one hand in any way you see fit for just a second. What are you doing, Ink? What syllable are you making out? Are you breaking through these teeth behind this tongue? And what hand gesture are you making?
Like, just thinking back, just the first thought in their head. What if he took me out like he did that Chol? As they just slam their fists down the nearest surface in frustration, just yelling out, Max.
A surprised blink from those in the room. People turning. Oh, what the fuck about him? And once again, this warden of yours starts to carry on in its words and try to recover this mess. You can imagine an apology coming from your lips. The hand gestures make it apparent. You can hear what seems to be an explanation. And, well, Benny doesn't seem to buy whatever the explanation is, but it's fine. I mean, listen, I miss him too, but it's been a while. We can get back to the topic at hand.
Once they feel like they can't force another thing out, they try and just press their ear to the glass of their mind, trying to finally understand what this thing's been doing. Just something, any type of control they can wring back from it.
Give me a perception check.
$16.
You hear something about liberation. Words that don't. You're trying to find the context. You're trying to find where they fit in. But something about liberation. Something about people, as you're calling them. And helping. And the heart of the world. Again, it finds itself almost like that Peanuts adult translation where it's just a muffled nonsense.
Wah, 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 wah.
Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, well, I know we've been trying on that endeavor for quite a long time, but forces at Garden are kind of a whole fucking bitch. If I'm being completely honest, and with, well, at least a few of the nodes down, it's been hard to break through. But if you think there's something, if you think at this point in time that we can break through, I'll see about gathering some folks, and I'll see about gathering another force. We'll try to break in again. Just this intangible ear, this incorporeal ear of yours that doesn't have a physical form, pressed up against yet another thing that doesn't have an actual physical limit, but you can feel this barrier holding you in. As you made out only a few words that this body of yours spoke about freedom and liberation and helping and this heart of the world. As for a second there, we're going to go ahead and go to Beaker, actually.
Bigger! Robo Boy!
All right, my turn in the torture room.
I know. Beaker. So, I don't know if you read or heard, but the last little bit that happened last session, as Beaker kind of went to kind of soak a little bit in the corner as people got to their destination, the first to be taken a little more literally, a silhouetted set of hands emerged from the wall and took our little robot Kovlin into the shadows. And Beaker finds themselves falling, and tumbling. And just make me a dex check. See if you can catch yourself. See if you can not eat shit as you fall down.
All right, let's see how this little robot can do. Beaker, Dex check.
Go,
Go.
go! Power of not eating shit.
Power of
That
not
is a
eating shit.
17.
Kind of powerful, honestly. 17 is definitely more than enough than what you need to not eat shit. You tumble, 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 and at some point in this rolling, the tips of your feet catch the ground, and so does one of your hands as you almost heroically give a little superhero landing as you skid across the ground. There's dust, stones, an unpaved alley. Like, not something you want to be hands deep in, but it's fine. You have mechanical hands that can be washed and sanitized really easily. And you look around. You know, these optical sensors that this brain in a jar has, that is your body. You're in an alley. And but you weren't in an alley, but that's hard to think about. And almost a voiceover, strangely enough. Not that you know what other people have been like. Well, what other people it could be. You're almost a voiceover. It's kind of the weird thing to think about something that you don't even remember. Strange
Uh,
little line given. It seems to be just playing in your head for a second.
I guess Beaker is going to just try and get out of the alley, see where he is.
Turning forward and turning back, there is two exits to this alley. It's not one that's closed off. Turning back, you see somebody from your old gang. Just kind of
Oh,
beckoning you to get the fuck out of here, just looking down the street with concern in their eye. You know, the kind of not an unfamiliar situation. Something that's you guys are running from someone and well they have the way out. You have to follow. But turning to the other side, you see another figure. Unfamiliar, something that you don't remember, but yet little sparks of recognition fire off in that visible brain of yours. And amid that recognition, creeping up your senses is fear. As a single footstep makes itself known from the alley. It is dark outside, but not dark enough for this figure to be as black and shadowy as they are. The ruffling of a coat that they seem to be wearing, although its very borders almost impossible to see. Barriers of where their body is amidst this coat and the silhouettes. Recognizable shape of someone, a man, perhaps a
mm,
human man by given their size and build, wearing a skimpy
no.
little hat as they raise one hand in the form of a gun that takes something in form of something much more monstrous for a moment, starts to light up.
Ah, no.
What a strange fear to have. One would think it's childish. Be afraid of a shadow. And it goes to take a shot at you.
I dodge.
You try to dodge. We'll see if it hits.
Oh, Jirok, I think I know who this is, even if I don't currently know who it is.
I know. Beaker does 19 hit.
Oh,
Let me check. Yes.
19 hits. Beaker.
fuck.
Can,
What a
can I
tangible.
use my ability to reduce that?
And is that uncanny dodge that you're talking about, or is there something else?
I got uncanny dodge.
You do have an uncanny dodge. This attack is catching you by surprise in multiple ways. Maybe you sure saw this fucking gun raising up to shoot you, but something about its presence more surprising than anything you've seen in a long time in this recent set of memories that you have.
Oh no.
And you're
What's
uncanny dodging that. It's hitting you. It is scraping by a shoulder as you duck down, skirting most of this damage. You take 16 radiant damage, despite
Mother?
it, despite its shadowy nature and the lack of facial features, lack of barriers, just kind of this strange silhouettes. The edge of the gun lights with, well, a beam, and it just shoots right through part of your arm. Molten metal immediately hitting the ground slightly as you duck and roll out of the way. Beaker, what are you doing? You turn around and this gang member of yours, this friend, is no longer there. There's nobody in the streets that you can hear. It is this alley, which goes about 30 feet both ways, this entity at one edge, and an opening at the next. What is your first instinct to do, Beaker?
I'm gonna I'm gonna make it harder for him to hit me and cast invisibility with the cloak I got. Does
Cast
that
invisibility.
does that do I still have that cloak?
A thought, and you reach for this cloak that you're wearing, and with a flourish, you still have it, and you're able to activate it. Go ahead.
Very nice. I got my shawl of invisibility, and I'm able to just become invisible while I'm wearing it. And as I turn invisible, I'm just going to say, wait, Stag, since I'm pretty sure I know who this is, but Beaker doesn't, could I roll like a little D100 to see if any memory of this comes back to Beaker at the current moment?
Let's do a D 700 just for the fun of it. Sure.
Ooh.
A
Arbitrary
D
Okay.
numbers,
what?
11. Don't worry about it. It's not a real.
All right.
You
How
can.
do I?
Oh, sorry. You can actually do that on Discord. OOC, fucking dice room. It's gonna be exclamation point R space 1D700.
Exclamation point R 1D700. Here goes nothing.
Dice room.
Eh.
That was so incredibly middle of the road, but just leaning north of the middle line. Funnily enough, Zero, you actually know more about this character than I do. So you remember a sliver. You remember, I will say, about 4 seconds of a memory in which you've seen this individual. What 4 seconds do you recall?
Us shooting at each other in a desert, and I was taller for some reason.
I know, rather high up for a goblin. A strange flash of a memory, but something. Well, I know I'm saying that when Bervigi's in the party, but that's fine.
It's okay. I'm sorry. It just makes me laugh every time.
No offense, Bervigi. Now, Beaker, you are invisible. Are you
All right.
moving? Are you hiding? You haven't made any efforts to conceal exactly where you are for a second. You're kind of a fast little individual. You're a fast little mechanical goblin.
All right.
And does it take
Yeah.
an action to do? It doesn't take an action to do the invisibility thing.
Yes, but I also have a bonus action, and
You do
I
have.
am a rogue.
I know, cunning action are beloved. So
Hell yeah.
Yes. As a cunning action, I'm gonna run past him.
run past him.
Yeah,
Quiet
I'm pretty.
footsteps rolling
Yeah.
forward. So you're gonna go ahead and use it to dash, are you?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
gonna dash in the opposite direction of where he might think I might be going after turning invisible.
No, because you're not hidden. your footsteps aren't exactly silent.
Oh,
They
then never
still will.
mind.
Yeah, you can hide. So so just the way it works, even if you're invisible, if you don't make an effort to conceal yourself or make yourself hidden, as it were, they still kind of know generally where you are. So you still have that bonus action that you can go and hide with.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my cunning action to hide.
Hiding in plain sight. Hiding invisibly. Go ahead and roll stealth.
All right, and I have advantage on this because I am wearing invisible shawl. Let us go stealth.
That's a high
A
ass number.
25.
No, this individual is rather perceptive, but not that perceptive off the base of their abilities. You mean looking up invisibility?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if it gives you a bonus to stealth, and it doesn't.
So it doesn't give you a bonus to stealth, but it does give disadvantage to perceive you with sight because it gives you the fucking heavily
Invisible
obscured
tag.
condition,
Yeah.
etc.,
Yeah, no,
etc.
like this is
Whole
from an item Cap gave me.
Yeah, like it gives you the invisibility condition. It's a whole slew of shit that we're not gonna go into, but
Yeah.
basically, this individual has disadvantage on perceiving you, which means their passive perception is a little lower. Suck it, weird guy. They sit there and they seem to be looking around for you for a moment. Are you moving?
I'm gonna move as quietly as I can, being made of like half a ton of metal.
Half a ton of little metal. Dense, heavy little goblin. But you are invisible and you are hidden, and you are moving quietly. And you can remain hidden as long as you move at half your movement speed.
All right, all right, I'm gonna do that, and I'm also gonna keep this guy at my periphery, so in case he starts just trying to shoot at random.
Which I guess could make sense, but as you move back, this individual lowers their gun, their weapon, and just slowly starts walking forward towards you.
Oh,
Why is this person fucking hunting you? Clearly an enemy, and one you run into before. Well, that's kind of the bitch of losing most of your memories.
I, yeah, I am. I I want to try and remember this guy because clearly he has a grudge against me, and I don't know what I did to deserve it.
I know, what did you do to deserve it? Moving back, what is your movement speed by chance? Is it 30?
Do, do, do. It is 35.
Oh, well, unfortunately, at half movement speed.
He ate his hot dogs.
I know, unfortunately, at half movement speed, that still just means your movement is still 15 if you're moving at half speed. So I'm moving 15 feet back, and you're 15 feet from this ledge. That being your turn, for their turn, they just walk forward. At a brisk pace, of course, but they just
This
walk
motherfucker
forward for the
cute.
moment. And it gets back to your turn. As an action, you can try your best to recall why this person is trying to kill you, aside from being an evil shadow person. You know, the most obvious answer. If you'd like to make an intelligence check, actually. Or
All
an
right.
intelligence saving throw, I'll go ahead and say for now.
Okay. Intelligence saving throw. Come on, Beaker. You're a brain in a jar. This technically shouldn't be a failure. Yes.
25. What a roll.
I imagine Beaker is just quietly banging his little fists against his case, trying to remember something about this asshole.
I know, using a set of gloves, using just whatever cloth to dull the sound as you perhaps step backwards, and trying to recall why this asshole wants you dead, why this asshole is coming to kill you. and you know it somewhere deep inside you. You know that they are trying to kill you. Another synapse spark, and you recall something more significant.
Do I get his name?
Maybe you might get his name. Beaker, I'll give you 12 seconds of recollection. A situation of 12 seconds that you can recall of an interaction you've had with this individual.
Oh, I, I know. Well, I do know one. I remember one thing that was standing out.
And what is that?
Beaker is flashing back. He's standing in a waste yard. There's a goblin next to him. He doesn't really remember who this one is. And across from him is a giant freaking black beast with a glowing orange maw, roaring and raving.
This monster. But what? Tell me, Beaker, what connection? You're trying to remember something about this guy here. What connection does a evil monster like, well, horrible monster like that have to do with this person? Unless,
They were in my head. They were
unless
stuck there, and they
one and the
wanted
same.
out.
This monster and this individual is one and the same. In a sense. And they were stuck in your head. Don't know why the fuck that is. This context that seems to be missing. Almost more painful than this gunshot. I'd say almost, but that shit sucked.
Yeah, no, it really, really fucked me over.
I'm sorry. Just hearing what it was Hab scared the shit out of me.
And you can go ahead. So that was your action. Anything else to do with your movement and bonus action?
I'd like to use my movement to quickly scurry further away from this guy.
Sure can. If you go ahead and use that dash cunning action, you can go and move 30 feet without breaking stealth and get
I
the
will
fuck out of
do
this
that.
alley.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So long, you prick.
So long, you fucking prick. Beaker, you were moving out, still keeping him in the corner of your ocular sensor.
What did I do to you, frog?
True. Actually, yeah, sorry. I can't help it. But as you step right at the edge of this alleyway and you turn around to see where you're going, and you turn back around to look at the shadow individual, raising a gun, but also from their coat, from their back, several tendrils with little beastly maws opening their mouth with that same orange glow. Several of these shots prime themselves to shoot you right before you leave the alleyway, and a name comes to you, silly as it may be. But Deeker.
Motherfucker.
And as they all shoot for a moment, we'll go ahead and cut to someone else.
Neko hasn't gone yet.
I know, Neko. Welcome back in. See you coming in.
I
Hi.
hate my turn in the torture room. Let someone else suffer.
I'll probably be like here for as long as I can be before I'm called away.
That's fine. Just doing little things out here
Gotcha.
before we get the action mechanic.
It's
Nico, did you
fine.
enjoy my
Just
suffering?
suffer for your sins, Lustus.
I did nothing to this guy. The worst I was involved was just being the prison he was stuck in.
You do no wrong. I said Lustus. She
Eh.
must suffer.
I'm gonna break your Nika. Oh my god, I fucking love that meme. Nico, 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 Nico. I'm gonna break
I
your
know,
fucking
this
Gonna
Nico,
break
Nico,
your
ancient,
nickel
kneecaps.
nickel kneecaps.
this ancient fucking meme. So maybe you didn't, maybe you missed it, maybe you didn't, Neko. But kind of right at the end of the last session, with everyone in this tunnel at the very end of it, and behind, and at the end, at the opening of this cavern, was an underground lake that seemed to glow with a aqua green light somewhere deep within it that illuminated the area. But Samara's parting words, telling everyone that they'll see them at the end of the cave. And upon blinking, Lucy would open her eyes. Lustus, as some would call her, but Lucy, for now. Now, permanently.
This is what Beaker saw, by the way.
Jesus
A
fuck.
bright white light immediately fills your vision as you open your eyes,
I'll show that to chat, by the way, because
almost blinding, as it seems to dim down for a second and it takes shape as lightning cracking through the sky. This darkness. And, well, Lucy, you know what comes after lightning. For a moment. For the split second that it is of this blinding white light, a split second later, earth shaking thunder shaking the inside of your chest. The backdrop of this lightning being dark, awful clouds, swirling dark mass that takes up your entire periphery. Your feet dig into, well, in other situations would be pleasantly warm sand. Pleasantly warm sand. And you look around. None of your friends, acquaintances, teammates, whatever you might want to call them, are here with you. You are alone in the desert. As another bout of lightning illuminates what is now obvious, a cloud that is rushing towards you. It would be a blinding gray or brown if it wasn't nighttime, and only the lightning illuminating the area on its occasions being your only source of light currently. As thunder rolls and a sandstorm rolls towards you, you are alone in the desert, Lucy. After everything that's happened, or hasn't happened, things, other thoughts in your mind become a little blurry, as the only thing that can fill your mind right now is the current situation. What are you going to do? This sandstorm rolling towards you.
I definitely will say that Lucy is the thunderstorms have definitely shaken her to her core. She's never been a storms. They're loud. Like they're loud. They follow after most certainly dangerous, and the incoming sandstorm does not make the. Is there sand sailor nearby anywhere?
Looking around, looking around, looking around. Dark, as it were. And, well, for some reason, Lucy can't see very well in the dark. But another crack of light streaks across the sky, as Lucy might brace herself for a second for the sound to come. But she sees it. She sees that ancient little sand skiff. Or maybe not so ancient right now. Who knows? Either way, it's a way out. The wind is ruling, moving in a direction that's to your advantage for the situation. It's about 60 feet away currently.
I will use my movement to dash to it.
running towards it. For other people who aren't native to this land, maybe the soft sand might have slowed them down, but not you, Lucy. You're used to it. You're used to the desert. You're used to these feet touching this soft sand that doesn't seem to have very much traction, and you run towards this sand sailor. You're able to get on, kind of grabbing the ropes that you need to get things started. The sail and turning around again. The sandstorm is approaching. The winds buffet your hair back and forth. And as the more the winds start to blow, the more that sand starts to streak across your skin, starts to get in your hair. Not yet the brunt of this sandstorm, but it's approaching. Lucy, what are you doing? And honestly, why are you afraid of thunderstorms, Lucy?
She is afraid of thunderstorms. Well, first to describe what she's doing, she wants to go faster, so she's definitely grabbing one of those wind bottles and using it to make her sail kind of go faster. She does not want to be in that sandstorm whatsoever. Uh,
Along with the wind of the sandstorm, a wind of this bottle to help aid and perhaps outspeed it. Just getting everything kind of going as for some reason these thoughts come to you. Is it the sound that scares you? You're just afraid of loud sounds? Powerful sounds? Is it the imminent threat of lightning preceding them? What it signifies? Or is it something else? Or something that happened? Lucy?
it's a
Not.
mix of a few things.
It's
She's def. Uh, she has at least a few times in her life been struck by lightning. It was not very pleasant, and it was mostly due to her getting overconfident with other people before getting hit by it.
kind
But
of a, kind of a ridiculous statement, isn't it? Being struck by lightning a few times, but that definitely
the
definitely put
the
the fear of
biggest
lightning
thing,
into you.
it's fine. Magic is magic. Like magic induced lightning, and lightning itself is happens. But it's what happens during a thunderstorm, effectively, that scared her because she witnessed, uh, effectively her father, uh, get taken out in a thunderstorm.
Her what?
Her father.
Now these aren't the thoughts that you should be thinking while you're getting away from, well, it seems to be certain death, but here they are rolling into your mind as you're getting things moving, as you're getting this sailor flying towards what's hopefully safety, or at least somewhere to get to safety, somewhere to bunker down, somewhere to get away from this. But these thoughts do prevail. You've been struck by lightning for your overconfidence. You've been struck by magical lightning. And have you been struck by natural lightning? Some
She's been struck by natural lightning only once, and that was during when she lost her father.
terrible situation. Honestly, someone has to be responsible. This world has gods. They're the ones who set these things into motion. Or are we just going to blame the weather? Lucy, what happened
She,
that night? Or what happened that time?
well, at that time, it was they were using the sand sailor that she was using at this very moment. Uh, her father, and her mother were trying to get out of a sandstorm just like this one. They had gotten to a safe location or somewhere that they thought was safe, and then the thunderstorm kicked in. Things got really bad. They got caught in the sandstorm, couldn't see anything, could only hear things. And then one thing leads to another, and Lucy and her mom are being pushed out of the sand sailor.
At the very thought
Then,
and memory,
mm,
your fingers crackle with kind of an awful that awful memory. Lightning trying to escape your extremities. Not enough lightning or electricity to cause any serious damage, but enough for you to remember. And enough to. Did Lucy look away when it happened?
Lucy didn't look away.
A feeling in your hands and your toes, feeling in your ears, and the top of your head, horrendously enough. The standing of end of the hair on your body and your head. That brings forth a fresh image conjured, not helped by this being the exact same sailor, but the image of your father being struck by lightning. But a split moment. But in that moment, it's been seared in your memories. Long time ago. And as she thinks that, another flash of light. But she doesn't get a second to react. Well, she might. Actually, go and give me a dexterity saving throw.
15.
15. Not fast enough to dodge the entire thing. She might have some magic to her that might help her mitigate some of this. But this sand sailor being one of the only things around, this friction causing the lightning and electricity to build up in the air, the sand rubbing up against each other. She's able to dodge most of its effects, but the sand sailor sure isn't. Let's see. Oh, and what a benign blast of lightning it was. But even then, it's still lightning. Lucy is able to jump away from this sand sailor as it's struck by lightning. She takes whatever residual electricity flies towards her, which is only 7 damage. The actual sand sailor itself still remains in one piece, but the actual sail is ruined in tatters, shreds, and burning. No longer is this sand sailor flying forward at the high speed that it was. The sand now, the windbag flailing to the side and blasting air into the sand going everywhere, just kind of obscuring your vision again. As immediately afterwards, another flash of lightning somewhere behind you, as this lightning storm is illuminating the sandstorm that is coming to get you. The sand sailor is now useless to you. And like an intrusive thought, the words cross your mind. You're going to die here alone in the desert, Lucy. You can pray to other gods as you wish, but when is that? Do you know anyone who's been saved by a god that's come out of the desert? Praying to a god that saved them from a sandstorm or some horrible calamity? Do you know anyone like that, Lucy?
The only person that she knew at the time was Eclipse, but considering she's not even sure if he's around anymore, she's not even sure if she should pray to him. She's terrified.
As well she should be. It's a terrible situation to be buried alive. Even if you do survive that, would your fate be dehydrating to death? Is it burning to death once this sand starts getting cooking into its daytime temperatures after this storm and lightning are over? Is it choking to death on the sand filling your lungs as you try to breathe under it? Any of these things. Lucy, faster than it should have. This sandstorm is blowing past you. This lightning storm is illuminating you sinking into the sand, being covered immediately. As much as you try to start walking, try to start crawling out of this blast of sand, this storm that is coming over you, you find yourself more and more quickly covered in sand as you are succumbing to it. Tall as you are, towering over most of your acquaintances, it gets you in no time. Up to your knees, your waist, your chest, your neck, covering your head, and maybe instinctually, the last thing you might do is reach upwards. Who is this person you're calling to? Not Lucy.
She she isn't sure,
Does
but
the name escape her?
the name escapes her. But she's calling out at the very least to anyone who's out there, who will at least hear, doesn't want to die.
And maybe something more of it, but even if someone's out there, even if they can't save you, at least you'll die together. And we'll move on to the next person for right this second. I will actually do a dice roll. Actually,
Shit getting heavy. This shit wild, man.
I know.
We be wildin' out here.
Braviki,
Hello.
you're going to talk to people to say about getting closure and giving people closure for the events that transpired in the monster that you've become.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the people that I mentioned, Ink, Arya, Beaker, who would be the first person you would go to see? Is it just whoever's the closest?
I was about to say, who is the closest?
Yeah.
I know. For Beaker, it's a toss up on who's the closest.
Who's available
Or
at the moment?
I know it's a toss up on whether or not Beaker is closer or not, because Beaker travels for work. Beaker doesn't stay in one place for work. Arya is living seemingly by herself somewhere in Lytera. Currently, you're posted to somewhere in Naturia. So, another country away, and perhaps a boat ride away, but somewhere technically nearby. And Ink is actually, funnily enough, stationed also somewhere in Lytera, tending to their mission. So, there's a chance that Beaker, if you want to go ahead and roll a d3, there's a chance that Beaker is the closest. If not, it seems it's probably going to be Arya.
You want me to roll a d3?
Yeah, go and roll d3. Which you can do it here, or you can go over and roll a d20 or a d6 over on roll 20 if you wanted to. No, easy peasy.
Two.
I know too. Funnily enough, Ink is the most reliably closest at the moment. Stationed in an office somewhere in Lytera, but they do go out and they do their things. It's a boat ride away, something that seems to pass by in a flash. As you'd go and find Ink at their office, Ink has endeavored themselves into freeing the population of, well, the heart of the world before everything goes to shit. An increasingly suicidal endeavor that, well, they insist upon. And, well,
Hmm.
it hasn't worked so far, and plenty of people have died trying to get these people out of this place. But it's only right to do. You find yourself at this office. You find yourself opening the door to it. Again, this more collected ink that you've come to know over the years offers you a placid smile, professional at least. Out of most of the people, ink seems to be the one who cares the least of what you've done. Surviving is only right. There's no shame in that. Braviki. But you'd open the door, and there they'd be waiting behind this table, waiting behind this desk, actually.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't think you'd find. I didn't think you'd come back for anything.
I had some things I needed to ask about.
More things. We've already talked most things to death, Braviki. Unless
True.
it's just kind of a stupid fucking hand gesture of a somewhat cupped hand moving up and down.
True, but it doesn't mean, we had to leave things off where it is. I mean, surely you have your own views about what happened.
I don't think it's too late. If there's anything I learned from everything that happened is that we shouldn't give up hope.
Yeah, that's right.
So they may have happened, but we can still get through this.
Yes.
That same smile that suddenly fills Bravigi with a slight edge of nervousness coming from Ink. But you wanted to talk about it again?
Yes, about why and how everybody felt. I just want everybody to have a chance to say what they want to say.
Well, it's a little too late for most of those people to say what they want to say. Uh, there's, there's. Have you talked to Have you talked to Arya?
I plan to.
Or oh, have you talked to Beaker?
That I also plan to do as well.
Oh, so I'm the first. I'm
Yes.
flattered.
I assumed you would be, knowing you.
And I just kind of a lot more pleasant might be the word for it nowadays.
S- Just smirks. You seem a little different from when we last met or spoke.
What? No, I'm about the same as the last time we spoke.
No, you're not.
And
He just
which
chuckles and says, "No, you're not." You may not see it, but I do. You're more relaxed, more. It's kind of odd to say collected.
Is that a bad thing, Praviki?
No, it's just
I mean, you said you wanted to talk about what happened when everything went to shit, Praviki, and everyone else who had their shit together, or at least kind of had their shit together, died, or died trying to save everyone. Some of us had Some of us had to pull it together when everything else is gone. I know that you went and did whatever you're doing. Now it's good. God, I'm proud of you for surviving, Praviki. Just kind of a gestured towards him with both of their hands. But I changed a little bit because I had to, and I'm trying to save as many people as I can. We just need we just need to get to the heart. I just know it. And I know you've turned me down whenever I've asked you for help with that.
exactly because it's kind of a death sentence.
It's but you're one of the most capable people left in the world, Praviki. If you can just help me. Cuddle, if you'd like to roll me a charisma check again.
Let's see what they got. A 15.
15.
15. Cuddle, Ink isn't able to move any of the body parts, but they're able to say two words. As for a moment as they're speaking, an eye of theirs twitches almost involuntarily, and just the hint of black from one of their nostrils, just a droplet of blood, as their face contorts, and something else comes out their mouth in something of a different tone, maybe a more familiar one. But two words is Ink saying to Braviki. Which, Cuddle, you might be muted by the way.
I think they're just thinking of what two words to
Sorry.
use.
True.
No, I actually was muted.
Oh, well, shit.
I hit my switch on accident.
Okay.
But
two words.
the two. I have to ask this. In any memory of this time, do I know what, like what Bravigi knows where everyone is, or am I not aware?
In this strange little situation, you seem to be in multiple places at once, whilst experiencing multiple things. You are in a room, speaking to Benny about plans, in a slightly more hopeful situation, but you are also here, trying to funnel people into the. Well, you're not. This body is trying to funnel people into the heart of the world. But you know generally where everyone that you've known is. You've kept track of them, or this body has. And in a sense, you have to. You may not be able to make out words on paper, and you may not be able to understand the words coming out of your mouth, but you can see maps, and you've come to know them well enough. So, two words. And you know who's dead here.
They would say true deceiver. They could force it out just in the middle of a conversation, right where it really shouldn't be.
They can say it. They can put it somewhere in one of these sentences, and in what tone do they say it? And do they just say it in the same canter that this warden of yours has been speaking in?
Just in a. If they could force the emotion out,
They can.
they would say. Actually, they would say blackened deceiver. Just in a panicked, harsh tone.
I mean,
Just hoping that could communicate what this thing is.
Praviki, um, you know, we should actually go speak to Arya together. If I mean, I know you have, and I'm sure this is something that you want to do. But blackened deceiver. It's just their face contorts in desperation for a moment. Their hands don't move at all, but those two words get out of their mouth before they blink, and they correct their facial expression.
He'd tilt his head at that.
Sorry, just sometimes when I think about what happened back then, it, like you said, I'm more comic like, but I'm still going through it. It's just it, just nothing, honestly.
That didn't sound like nothing.
I mean, I know, but
What's really wrong, Ink?
well, the only thing that's wrong is that there's still people suffering in the heart of the world.
No,
And
no.
no,
With you.
I'm trying to hold myself together. That's it. It's just thinking about this. There's, but aside from that, I'm holding it together, and I can tell that whatever you're trying to do is so that you can hold yourself together. I, I can help you if you can help me, Priviki.
And what is it you want me to help you with, Ink?
Well, I've already said it. Like, rather, I'd like to gather. If we can gather all our old friends, their hands to their chests, both hands, then we can rescue as many people as we can from the heart of the world, and maybe with enough of us, we can reignite. We can stop this from happening.
Stop
Cuddle, if you
this?
can go ahead. Yes, that
He's...
well,
He's...
the world, the world from darkening as it is. It's. I know we failed, but we can't stop trying. Cuddle, if you can give me a charisma check, and you can roll insight if you'd like to any of this.
Brigigi.
Cuddle and Port. I know for just a moment, Braviki, you see both land and sky tearing. Just a flash of a vision for just a second.
I'm gonna roll
But
insight.
go ahead.
Fuck. 8.
Now 8.
Damn it.
Now, I will say, would anyone here, I will give, in a few situations that seem to be colliding now, everyone has one dice to spend. You cannot spend it on yourself. You can only spend it on someone else. You may not know it. The character may not know it, but you as a character do. Or you as a player do. You have one dice to spend to re-roll someone's d20 or just whatever dice. Would anyone like to spend theirs to re-roll Bravigi's insight at advantage?
I'll spend mine. Um, but I also want to make you talk to yourself. I want to know what Benny's doing.
Well, depending on
maybe
circumstances,
in a
Benny might
second.
be in the ground.
Yeah, maybe in a second. But there it is. If you'd like to re-roll that at advantage, then
Alright. Give me a moment. Gif of just Benny. Alright. Advantage. Insight. Come on, don't fail me now. I was about to say if I rolled double threes, but I got a 16.
would have
So
been
that's an
over.
18.
18 is enough. Bravigi, Ink may be speaking in Ink's voice. You said earlier they're not like themselves, but something about the words black and deceiver was spoken in the tone that you knew from long ago, before all this happened. Almost like, well, the ink you knew versus this calm and increasingly desperate to get you to help them ink this ink, this blackened deceiver.
He's going to stand up from the chair. I imagine we're you know at a desk or
Discussing
something.
it, of course.
Yeah. And he's going to basically put his hands on the desk and look them in the eye, getting uncomfortably close.
And ink doesn't flinch. They don't back up. In fact, they lean in a little bit. Is something wrong, Pravigi?
What's the real reason why you want everyone to gather to help you, knowing full well that this world is going to die regardless of my answer?
It's not going to die if we try to do something
Stop
about it.
lying to yourself.
I'm not lying to myself. Praviki, just because you gave up hope.
I didn't give up hope. I
Then
had
why did you
faith.
run? Why did you leave everyone?
Because I needed
Why
to do
weren't you
something.
why weren't you worth it when it mattered?
You really want to know why?
Yes.
Does he get the sense of what he's talking to isn't actually ink?
The sense comes across on that insight check. This doesn't seem to be ink. At some point, maybe you could have passed it off for ink, and maybe an ink who's changed a little bit, but at this point, this doesn't seem like ink at all.
He looks at this thing, this shell, just whatever this thing is.
The
Direct.
speaking shell.
Yeah.
Ink might have had kind of darkness to their eyes, a lack of light, but nothing this hollow. Looking at their eyes this closely, nothing like the void that is the black of their eyes right now.
He smirks at this thing. If you want the answer so desperately to that question, then let my friend go.
What do you mean?
Blackened deceiver.
Listen, just because you want to be alone, just because you want to be alone and stand out in whatever you're doing doesn't mean I want to. I'm not going to leave any of my friends alone.
I'm
And they
sorry,
seem
I'm
to
just
be
laughing at
standing
Ink
there.
and Ozy.
I know.
I get giggles easily, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I'm an evil bitch.
And as this, well, as it has been labeled, Black and Deceiver is scolding Jarok. You see them move slightly with, well, ill intent, essentially.
he'll he's gonna make a point real clear because alert feet. Um, he'll
Can't be
immediately
surprised.
draw a dagger and put it to their throat.
Frozen mid sentence, their eyes track down. Their pupils a little larger than they were before tracking back up. And without a move of muscle,
You
they
know,
grin a little bit.
you know my hand's quicker than Ink's. So again, I'll repeat myself. Let them go.
I don't need my hand. I don't need to move a muscle. And if you'd like to roll an initiative check,
Okay. Where is it? There it is. 21.18.
this entity isn't fast enough. You get the first move as they seem like they're going to do something, perhaps. Is boasting about not needing to move muscle, but yet Vigi is but faster than thought.
Yeah.
Or at least it's thought at the current moment.
He's. Let's see, he's got the dagger there. He's going to try
And
and impede it the best he can. And the best that he thinks that he knows that he can impede it right now is, well, using his special little dagger that he has from the Mage of Light.
to do what exactly?
Well, he knows in his adventures if sometimes he hits just right, they'll be encased in ice.
So you trying? So I'd like to say, you're trying to encase them in ice, but are you trying to stab and or slash at where you have the dagger at?
He'll do his best to like slice or stab them in a way that isn't lethal, but also is very painful to try to move from. He wants answers.
Perhaps a mistake, but how exactly does that dagger and the
I
ICU
have to
thing
crit.
work? Go ahead and roll me an attack at advantage.
All right. I don't believe that this is gonna work, but fuck it. At least it'll hurt it.
Honestly, if you crit, that'd be really cool.
It would be. Come on, crit. 24. That's
No.
a 16 on the die.
It does hit.
You know what? For you, because it's in an effort to kill me finally, I'm gonna give my dice to Vigi,
Two people.
even if it's a fruitless crit fish.
You only have one dice for this whole thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, are you absolutely sure you want to do it on that?
Actually, you're right. Because I have a feeling they're gonna do way worse to you.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Because also, to be honest, I don't know if the sneak attack damage is going to pop from this either.
It will.
Oh, shit.
But go and roll the damage just to see how.
It should automatically incorporate it.
Yeah, not for like the damage. We're not doing it for the damage total, but we're doing it to see how much it is out of its potential. So, oh,
That's a weak sneak, but
yeah, it's not very good. So, you find the
14,
cold not as
22.
effective. 22 total. You find the cold not as effective as it could be on this entity that looks like ink. You find your blade, and maybe naive in a sense, merciful and hopeful as you are, you try not to kill him, and maybe practical in the sense that you want answers. Try not to kill this thing. As you slash across the neck, non-lethally, the black ichor does not spray, but it slowly ekes out of the slice that you have made. Not dead, as you didn't try to kill it, and its eyes glance up at you, and I need an intelligence saving throw.
God damn it. Good thing proficient in these. Oh, nope. Ignore the right number, but I got a 21.
You did get a 21.
I forgot I had it on toggle.
I know. Also, incredibly bizarre that fucking that Verdun doesn't get intelligence saving throw advantage.
I know, right? They get wisdom and charisma.
Yeah, they're like psionic. They're like psionic fucking mutant goblins, but they don't, and they get advantage on or the other two, but not that. It's weird. Either way, it is a pass though. So just gonna roll here.
Oh, somebody in chat is talking about their D&D experience. It's very nice. Jesus
Okay.
fuck!
Do you happen to be resistant to psychic?
Fuck, let me check. Because off the top
I
of my
don't.
head, I think it's a no, but
Yeah,
let's
I
see
don't think
how
you are.
limited.
Verdan are not.
Yeah, like I know Verdun isn't. I just was wondering if there's anything else that was giving him psychic resistance. But you did pass,
Trait
so you
class
only take
reduced.
17 psychic damage.
Alright.
Not enough to take you down, and something that was meant to incapacitate you.
So I took 17 damage, you said?
You took 17 psychic damage as they tried to still the movement through your brain. And somewhere in these hollow eyes, you see a flash of guilt, a flash of sorrow.
So that's how it's gonna be, eh? Well, I suppose.
As honestly, it may be a little funny. You get an attack of opportunity if you'd like, because they're not doing anything else to do this with.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take
With
that
their son.
attack of opportunity.
Go ahead.
Just normal, right?
Yeah, just normal. So no sneak attack, unfortunately, but
That's a 19 on the fucking die, but 27.
you keep getting closer. Go ahead
Let me
and
uncheck
go
some
and roll
attack.
damage to that.
6 and 8.
Same thing. This creature being stronger, and honestly, your friend Ink was stronger than this, so it would have taken lethal intent to take him down that first time. And with this other slash, this Ink is moving towards the window, eyes remaining glued on Brevigi. The window is only cracked open, but they put their hand through it as it elongates, blackens, horrible sludge that they sort of morph into and just slink out.
I'm gonna keep following them.
Gone. But now that you've heard Ink in there, and well, you haven't given up hope, and you're gonna go and follow them for the time being. You
Alright.
go and you break the window, open the window, whatever it is to
Yeah.
get through.
So I'll say I'm nothing if not persistent.
This strange, bizarre situation that you found yourself in, this vague situation. You jump out this window and you collapse a little bit. You tumble, maybe end up on your feet and knees, but you tumble in the wake of your feet and your footing being caught unexpectedly by sand.
What the hell? Let's take a look around. As last he remembers, there was
It
no
is
sand going towards Ink's place.
it is painful to the eyes. It is gritting. It is wind. It is lightning in the background. And as you quickly look around, I need a perception check.
Go, Brevigi. 21.
21, that's enough. You hear a crying for anyone. And you see a hand that you see familiar, one that shouldn't be there according to these strange memories, but memories that are seeming increasingly more and more wrong. You see Lucy's hand reaching out of the sand, slowly, well, very quickly being buried.
he's immediately just, without hesitation, run over and grab it.
Lucy.
Exits through the text now. Oh
A
no,
creature
Lucy!
of text. Lucy, you feel a hand grip yours. And Bravik, you're not a very strong person, unfortunately.
I have completely average strength.
But not a very strong person, not like some of these freaks that you've been around with.
Yeah. I'm more
These
dexterous
people.
than I am strong.
I know, fast hands. But
Oh, they want to
Neko,
try something.
a hand grips yours. What would you like to do, Neko? You can still move a little bit, yes. But while you were being buried, you found that each movement would further bury you in sand. But now someone is holding you. You don't quite know who, but someone is holding you. So, what will you do? As well, you should.
Oh shit!
You're gonna start trying to blast away the sand. Very well. Why not? Let's go ahead and start rolling these attacks. You guys are level 7, 8, 9. You guys are level 9. Go and roll 2 beams.
Why, you want me to roll athletics or?
Yeah, go and roll athletics. Let me go ahead and see what happens with these beams real quick.
I'll let
And
Lucy do the beams first.
quick question, Neko, are you able to roll a d20? If not, you can just go ahead and manually roll here, which I'm assuming, what is it, a +4? It's gonna be at a +9 to attack. Oh, you only
Nice,
have +4
nice.
charisma? Okay. Go ahead and roll 2 attacks at +8. Just exclamation point R space 1d20 +8. '22 and 23. Marvelously done so. Praviki, Lucy's hand that you go and hand grip. You hear this, well, Lucy, I don't exactly know how your Eldritch Blast looked, but the thumping of sand, blasted and cleared, as the ground gives way beneath you, kind of a little bit like an ant lion den is. This shifting sand leading towards the middle, but only because it's being blasted to the side. It becomes easier to pull Lucy out of the sand. Go and roll your athletics with advantage.
Athletics with advantage. Okay. Go D20, go. Fuck yes. Crit.
First try, too.
Yep.
Rafiki, both, all of a sudden, one hand, both hands, the sand shifting. You plant your feet and they sink in all the way to the ankle for a second, but that doesn't matter. No regard to yourself and what's going to happen in a moment. You pull all the way up, and, well, Lucy's tall figure, taller than you, emerges and falls into the sand as you both find yourself falling on your back and front, respectively, into the sand. There's a blink, and you guys are simply in the desert. There is no storm. It is still nighttime, and the dim stars are still up in the sky. but a sky that is clear, one without clouds, sand, or lightning.
The gasp. Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't.
He also didn't put a space after the colon, so it might be that. But coughing and recovering from Lucy. Lucy, seeing Praviki, things become a little more clearly. This situation doesn't make sense, and why the fuck are you in the desert? Answers to which aren't coming to you exactly, but something about this doesn't make sense. And Praviki, well, for a long little while now, though they've passed by in a blur, the past few weeks that you've been traveling to go try to get closure for people you might deem as your friends once, or they're still your friends, or trying to be. The situation stopped making sense after a certain point,
Mm.
and especially doesn't make sense now that you've fallen into a desert and now you're here. The sudden shift, but you feel warm embrace as you feel a warm embrace as Lucy hugs you,
I'll hug her
shaking.
back. I don't know what the hell is going on, but something, I don't know. What we are seeing seems to shift and change. It's it's like not everything is as it seems.
Stuck in this strange situation in the desert for a second. See what Neko says in just a moment, but switching to flipping the channel in a sense, in a moment. Flunky is about to expire, so I'm going back to him actually in a second. So,
To Max!
what were we going to say, Lucy?
They say I see.
No, they were typing after that.
Oh.
Okay. So, something in your mind, Brevigi.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you were about to dismiss whatever Ink's fucking bullshit or the Black and Deceiver's bullshit ass explanation was going to be. But funnily enough or not, you heard Max's voice. Just kind of outright say that's bullshit.
To what?
Earlier, when not Ink was giving their explanation as to why they're different, and you were inciting them, you were trying to see what the fuck was wrong about it. Funnily
Oh.
enough or not, for no particular reason, you just heard Max's voice.
That's bullshit.
In the flesh. But
You heard it in the mystery. Ooh.
I know, very strange. Flunky,
Hello.
back to Max.
Okay.
Back to Max.
Yeah. Let Max have their moment. Hey, there's Lucy.
I know. Max, you wake up again. The daylight is barely coming up.
I wouldn't know because this room doesn't have windows.
Oh shit.
No,
Man, the
no,
plaster
but there
job
is
is
a
shit.
but there's a clock on your bedside. Reads 5 a.m. Reasonable enough hour to be waking.
It was a long time ago, but old habits are hard to break.
Frog. Okay, that was Frog who passed away. Reasonable enough time. Something that, well, again, you still stay awake up at this time, despite everything. Or at least near this time. But back to your morning routine. Back to, well, being someone who. The thought crosses your mind as you swing your legs off. Well, you swing your leg off the bed and reach for your other one. You reach for the other one that's just kind of in reach, and in the corner of the room, maybe a little morbid to some, but you actually do have a couple of other pairs of legs for different occasions. And amongst them catches your eye one made of that soulwood material, that weird freaky shit that you think about for a second. And that line again crosses your mind from that book. Although a turn over to the bedside in that book no longer is there at the moment. Maybe you put it away before you went to sleep without realizing it, but either way, fastening your usual casual everyday metal leg made out of a lighter material than it was. It's getting harder to lug this thing around. I know it moves a little bit on its own, but its weight has started bearing on you quite heavily. A glance over at this clock again, and your reflection. That well-trimmed mustache of yours and that neatly kept beard is wider than it was even yesterday. You have a meeting. Another one, as you always do. Funnily enough, it's with Inc. in another one of their strange propositions. But
It,
Ink's a rather important person now. New Mage of Darkness. Well, the new old Mage of Darkness. Maybe not around as long as the old one. You guys beat their ass. But taking that mantle and trying their own things. So
What? The old Major Darkness?
Old,
don't
old,
worry about it.
new,
Is
new,
this like the
You know,
head?
new, old,
Is
old,
this like
new.
the head vampire from that Billy and Mandy Christmas
The
I
head
know the
vampire.
head vampire. You don't understand. It goes all the way to the top.
video?
But
I
yeah,
don't want to just be
it's
the
scrape
ruler. I want to.
and lick.
Ah, la, la, la. I hate you.
You motherfucker.
Why did you make that sound? You're ruining the serious moment. No,
it's fine.
it's
You know,
cool. I'm
I say
DMing you
new
something.
old. Or I suppose I say old new. I said old new Mage of Darkness. Old as in it's been, well, shit. It's been almost 20 years as far as you can kind of remember. So that's enough to be old, quote unquote. Though ink doesn't look very much different than they did even back then. Unlike you,
Yeah,
who's aged
55 wears on the bones. We can't
55 wears in the bones. This metal is getting hard to lug around. You
we
might
can't all be so lucky as to change our shapes.
you can't all be so lucky as to overcome this evil blood of theirs. You didn't have to do that thing. But you have a meeting with Ink. And well, you can only imagine it's gone as it had any other time. This strange endeavor that might outlive you at this point of trying to save the heart of the world. Although, no, it's fine.
You know these proposals are I appreciate them. I do. But they're far too radical for the people to accept. If you could dial it back just a little bit, we could make it more palatable.
Max, I have been dialing it back, but it's been years. You can't just. You used to get so mad how things got gummed up in the bureaucracy, and here we are, and here you are gumming things up.
Change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. I wish it did. But if we put these policies in place, there would be war. You get that, right? The heart of the world as the nation, the Witherlands, is too fragile to be subjected to this type of chaos.
If there's anything that the heart of the world is, it's not fragile. It is resilient, and it has taken everything that this world has thrown at it and dumped on it, and it's still there.
That's a lot of.
That
I'm
was
trying to
the
go
whole-
through. I'm trying to go through with this, one way or the other. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to talk to an old friend and see if I had at least one more ally on my side.
You'll always have an ally in me, Ink. I think this is too much too soon. I know you've been trying, and I want the Witherlands to succeed. I do. I just worry about the changes this will cause.
Change is exactly what I'm trying to cause. Just kind of a bit of a defeated sigh and leaning back. Here, do you want any tea?
Yes.
Okay. Just not really looking a day older, maybe a little more, again, more put together, more cleaned up.
There.
It's still weird to see them as they've always been, especially since he looks older and older every day. It's like a reminder of what was. And I think that hurts.
I know just how things were back. Well, they worked out. And again, things are still working out.
It didn't.
It
Looking at
didn't what?
Ink, they're the same. And there's so many people who aren't here. It's hard to bury that feeling of resentment. He loves Ink. He does.
Does he?
But they serve as a constant reminder.
Sure. I mean, as a lot of things do. When did you come to love Ink? Is it when they cleaned up their act after everything?
I think it was sometime before that.
Even before?
Ink was always standoffish, but there was a point where they reached something mutual, and then it grew into an actual friendship.
Maxilin, you think for a moment. At some point in time, Ink had entrusted you with something very important. You and Benny, funnily enough, at least at the time. Even before you were friends, before you grew to love them as you do right now. Ink had entrusted you one thing. Do you remember what that was, Max?
It was that they were dying.
They were dying, but here they are, having superseded, conquered this apparent ailment that they were suffering, miraculously even. But they entrusted you with something in case of its worst outcome. The other half of this agreement is no longer here. Just as Ink moves over to a nearby table, they grab a few things. They grab cream, they grab sugar, a little container filled with, herbs and tea. Then they grab a spoonful, setting it into a little kettle. Wonderful little thing that these auto heating kettles are. And wonderful little thing that these little decanters are. Something that you guys saved. This magic in this world. Pouring into it, just brewing this tea. They sit there and they passively hum to themselves. For some reason, this thought crosses your mind. Max, this strange promise or strange request that you were to end them if they would become a monster. Max, you said you love them and you'd come to love them. That hasn't happened yet. That thought for a moment that hasn't happened yet crosses your mind and then is almost silenced as it doesn't make sense. These years that have blown by, seemingly. Few things intrusively, rudely even, against your will, these thoughts start to come to you. Max, everything you've done, people and the sacrifices that people have made, and the person that you'd wanted to be. Are you that person right now?
No.
Are you proud of yourself, Max?
No.
Were you proud of yourself at another point when this happened? No, not this. Something similar to all this. A better outcome at some point. One that no longer exists, and an irrelevant thought. Right now is what matters. Max, you're not proud of yourself. This person that you've become. Something of a spineless bureaucrat. Maybe not all of your fears have come true, but maybe enough that this is definitely something you wish to avoid. Ink
What?
glancing over at your apparently troubled face. Is something wrong, Max? You're looking really tired. Even, with the whole and the kind of pantomime like wrinkles. Kind of a playful jest, but maybe a little too playful.
Sometimes I just get this feeling that it wasn't supposed to be like this.
Yeah, I know. Everything was supposed to.
I'm back.
I know old me would have hated it, but be sunshine and rainbows.
I'm back.
God,
Welcome back.
old you would have tried to poison me.
Would they have? They kind of say with a look, and they set down this cup of tea in front of you. It's black tea.
I appreciate it. Do we have any honey?
Mm, no, I just sugar fine.
Sugar will do. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old. I'm just. I didn't
Yeah.
think it'd end up like this.
What? With you being a spineless bureaucrat? They kind of say with a smile.
Yeah. I always thought I could cut through the bullshit. And here I am. Being the bullshit.
Here, actually have some of that fancy sugar. Just kind of walking back over the table and grabbing a little fancy cup, little lid on it, setting it down. It's this kind of brown sugar. It's molasses sugar looking thing,
Oh, Demerara? Perfect.
if you say so. It's just I don't know.
The
I
fuck
asked
was that
whatever.
word?
Demerara.
Demerara? It's a type of sugar. This
Damn,
this a this is a
damn, I
real
love
thing. Look it
Durarara.
up.
That's one of my favorite anime.
Is that the one where the guy falls in love with the headless bitch?
Yeah.
I would
Damn.
too. Fucking. But
The biker lady.
stepping up, what's called
Also,
stepping back over with the sugar, and they kind of grab a small. They grab a spoonful. Just tell me when to stop.
He stops them after 2 spoons.
2 spoons and a stirring of the spoon as the sugar dissolves inside of it. This is excellent quality black tea. You can't even see the bottom of the cup.
Hey, he takes a drink.
And I need a Constitution saving throw.
Oh.
can I?
Wait, I get advantage on Constitution because I'm a fighter.
You actually have it. You
Better-
have proficiency, but not advantage,
Oh,
unless you have some other fuck shit.
I don't. So it's just
Yep.
normal
Do you have?
Constitution. It's
I would say you got
23.
proficiency because you're a fighter, not.
Yeah.
No, I've
So
got some on
Do
something
you have
else.
indomitable?
I
yeah,
can't.
also have
Okay.
that too, which is kind of nifty. But you only have one. But
It's okay. I got a 23.
you did
It's
good.
fine.
Drinking this
Kitty.
tea, it's kind of delicious, but there's something. If you'd also like to make me a history check.
23 again.
Why are you so smart?
I know 18 on the dice both times. It's delicious. It's a little thicker than you'd expect. And it's also something familiar to it, something strange. And your quick recollection of thoughts for a moment, amongst the other strange thoughts that cross your mind, something about its scent. A little sickly sweet, air of acridness to it. And for a split moment, you recall snakes from the desert that have been sliced in half. and the ichor rolling from their veins, or whatever tubes they have in there, however the insides worked at that point. Just whatever
I,
smell it was, reminding you of that. This black blood.
Max reaches down for his pistol.
Hmm? Oh, actually, I have one, just kind of like reaching for a handkerchief.
It's something's off.
Too much sugar?
No, it reminds me of something. What did? It was just the sugar, yeah?
Yeah, well, it's sugar, it's black tea, and well, you didn't ask for any cream. But I can get that if that's what's off.
No, it's remember those remember back in the desert we were with Lucy? It was before we saved Flargos. It was the sorry, there's something in this. Uh we killed those snakes. Just
Oh,
reminds me of that. Yeah.
for an old man, Max, memory's a lot sharper than I thought it'd be. It's kind of a bit of a quirked grin.
I've got an eye for detail.
Well, not that much, I think.
What?
I mean, if you really had an eye for detail, you've noticed a long, long time ago, as reaching for this handkerchief, same thing. If you'd like to roll initiative, see who does what first.
I would like to roll initiative.
Go, Max. You can't be surprised. Fucking love the
Do I have?
underbeat.
I don't.
That one.
I don't think I have the thing that gives me advantage on initiative yet.
Probably not, but I think you did take alert at some point. If not alert, gunslinger at least gives you proficiency at some level.
I did. I have really good initiative.
Then yeah.
I got 19.
Ooh,
Good.
a
I
19.
roll an initiative.
If you'd like to, yeah.
All right. Because this is an old man.
This is geriatric abuse.
This is geriatric abuse, but this old man's fast on his fucking quick on the draw, if he were.
Doesn't take that much dexterous speed to pull a trigger.
You fucking Dex whores. Anywho, 9.
I know, Max. You make the first move.
No. With that history check, I think he recognizes the poison.
Poison, in a sense, if you were to ask some, but definitely
And he draws his revolver and fires.
with lethal intent.
No. Going for legs and hands.
Go ahead and shoot a couple times then.
I'm gonna just do two. I'm not gonna action surge or anything. Just the two attacks. So 1 and 2. Wow, those are bad.
Oh, I that
Not bad.
I have to just ask if this thing knows to keep its mage armor up.
Well, this thing, those wouldn't hit that thing.
Oh wait, because without mage armor, Ink has a 13 AC.
I know, that's fine. But no. This thing is not ink. Not that Max may or may not realize that at this moment, but the situation calls for gunfire. But these two shots, quick as you may be drawing your gun, unless anyone would like to help.
Gonna no, it's gotta be for Max. I'm gonna let him re-roll one of those shots to hit this thing.
At advantage.
Try
Go,
and
Max, go!
go, please. As Ink
That's
is
a 22.
That's too
Holy
high for its.
shit!
That's too high for its attempt. The first shot, Ink doesn't flinch, or yes, Ink doesn't flinch. It goes towards them, and without moving a muscle, it goes diagonal and into the wall. The second shot much more true, firing straight into the leg, and there is a slight wince. Ink loved to bitch, but Ink doesn't even flinch at the shot. A glance down and seeing the black tar ooze from their leg.
you mind if I try another charisma?
Go ahead.
I want to specifically telepathically show everything that this thing's been doing for 20 years. Specifically.
Well, everything is a whole ask. So we'll see what the check
Let's
is.
just
Go and roll charisma.
7. Whore.
I know.
7.
I know.
I don't.
Just that same familiar fucking annoying ass thing Ink used to do that they stopped doing for a long time. You figured out of courtesy. But this probe into your mind, this airdrop of a message.
He even stopped wearing the ring a long time ago.
They even stopped wearing the ring. But this little airdropped message, as soon as that shot goes into the leg, without flinch, they look down, but then their face contorts for a moment, and their eyes, with a different expression, look over to Max. And for a moment, Max sees the sky tearing open, and a sense of dread and terror that came along with the image.
Max action surges and shoots 2 more times.
2 more times.
What the fuck, dog?
Is
14,
literal
14.
old man aim. Oh my god.
I know, that's so fucked up. Now, question, are these with lethal intent?
These are.
And would anyone else like to help? If not, they are missing.
No,
Neko will.
Neko will.
So that's
I know.
advantage on 1.
A little cheer from Lucy.
Ravika, are you giving me a shot?
We'll see how this one goes first. Go ahead and roll that attack at advantage. An attack at advantage.
It's a 21.
21 hits. And just because this isn't exactly, we're not rolling the entire combat. Your intent is to kill, and you're
Yeah.
hitting. The first shot hitting the leg, the glance down, and eyes streaking towards you, Max. And you know for a moment that, well, you know what you have to do here. Second shot goes straight through the head.
Ooh.
Making good on your promise. Just falling out of sight, falling behind this desk, clattering with the crash of, well, a now limp body. And your fingers honestly aching. You may you may have shot with your mechanical hand, but just on your other hand, just this strain and trembling of the situation. It wasn't supposed to be like this. And it doesn't have to be. Fucking Jiv, dog.
You're welcome.
Jesus Christ.
Max, things
We're
feel strange.
we're just like on point with our references tonight. What the fuck is going?
Something is wrong. And that's why I'll go and leave you to go to sleep then.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to bed. Good night.
Releasing you from your duties. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
It's not ogre.
It's not over, Snake.
It's not over. Which honestly, even though could
Because
probably call it at the moment because it is getting pretty late.
It is pretty
I
late.
I
I
know,
want to
but
see this through.
I'm
I did
saying
say that depending on how long this was going to take, Stag was going to do maybe another session, depending. So it looks like we're going to have to cut into another session.
I mean, the reason I'm saying it's not ogre, I think I think honestly Max may do on their promise way too late.
Mm,
I
No,
don't.
it's fine.
we shall see.
I mean,
We
Well,
shall
no.
that said, I guess that will mark for tonight. I guess.
unless you,
Hooray!
unless
I get to
somebody,
die in another Fatebreakers.
I was about to say, unless we want to try to get other people that are here together.
For
It's
what?
late.
I don't
Well,
know.
kind of points to leave it at. Ravigi and Lucy are realizing this thing is wrong. Of course, they knew something is wrong. Let's call it. They felt something is wrong, but they're kind of more concretely in it, and now together.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't part of the whole timeline scandal from years before, unlike the usual suspects.
I know,
I
which is kind
know.
of a little funny.
What the fuck is Benny doing?
I like how all the new, or like the two new peeps, or in this case the two new characters, have no issue with trying to get out of this struggle, but the ones who have been through this dance many times before are the ones who are still trapped in it.
That's why I wanted to offer
It's
for some
almost
of us to continue to go to help you out.
it's all hey, it's almost like we're slaves to fate and we have to
To
break it.
touch.
Yeah.
Eh,
Does anybody have any
You know,
raid recommendations if we're actually
Let me
ending?
check Twitch. Let me check Twitch real quick. Let me see who's live.
I didn't want to end yet.
it's
I
it's
know, but it is a little late, and kind of moving forward would involve.
Hey, there's a guy
Is it,
called Jiraki. He's live. I mean, he's a cool guy.
He's smart ass.
I
Yes,
don't
please go and follow Jiraki. Please subscribe to him as well. Make him eat spicy candy and regret his life decisions.
What's wrong with spicy candy?
Nothing. It's just for now until I hit a certain limit, I have to eat one for every subscriber.
So no, I can't make that joke on Twitch. I was about to make a joke on Twitch. That would have probably not been
Peanut.
great. Because Twitch doesn't joke about that thing.
Yeah.
Wait, Lucy was a character in fucking the OG Fatebreaker?
She was the
She was a
god.
god.
A
She was the
god?
god. She actually showed up one time and was a sassy whore. Well, whore is what I call her. But
Okay, I kind of remember now. Okay, now that you mention it, yeah. Jiraki, I have a wifey by the name of Safiria VT. She's live right now doing Marvel Rivals if you want.
Safiria?
Oh my balls.
Safiria, Safiria VT.
I'm a
Good
I'll
night,
spell that in
Zeros.
chat because you just totally fucked with my
Good night,
brain.
Zero. Have a good night, buddies.
good night.
Go
I'm
power
gonna be
down and
real.
recharge.
Yeah. I will never forgive you bringing back Deeker.
Deeker.
Yes,
It's
Deeker.
fine.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
But
Is this
Cap, spell
Dink
that again
then?
slowly.
Hmm?
Am I
S
simply
A S. Wait, did you say SAS?
Yep, Safiria, Safiria.
You're spelling it too fast.
spelling it?
Come on, man. The fuck am I gonna have to spell it out for you in a third grade level?
Yes.
Don't make
Okay,
fun of me. Just
okay,
spell it in
Jiraki,
chat.
Okay, Jiraki, listen to me slowly. Okay, I'm gonna say it one letter at a time.
Cap, why don't you just type it out?
Exactly.
Yes. Just type it. Where?
Deeker. No, that is the misadventures of Deeker and Dink. Yes.
I'm gonna be real.
Fucking Dink.
I'm gonna be real to alternate
It's too
future
fast.
Arya. If Ink didn't fall to madness or
Thank you.
whatever this
That's what I
is,
was doing.
I was saying it pretty clearly, man, even with a fucked up throat.
I was spelling it wrong because I was spelling it like the words actual like sapphire. So
Where in that did you get Sapphire?
Saphira?
Saphiria. Sapphire.
I said
Yeah, I'm
Saphiria,
deafening.
you can't pretend that Saphira.
All right, we're gonna go raid her. I apologize. But yes, we're gonna go raid them. They're being, silly. I appreciate everybody who came out here today and watched. I hope you had a great time. I do not have a raid message, so if you just want to, I don't know, scream at them and be like, "Hi, I'm from Jiraki" or something, that's fine. I'm, I might need to work on a raid message later.